Good morning. I'd like to call this meeting of Personnel and Higher Education together. First item of business is approve the minutes of last month's meeting. Motion by Supervisor Frazier. Do we have a second by Supervisor Loeb? Any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Dr. Duffy, SUNY, you're up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
morning.
Just a couple of quick updates. Thank you again for your support in our budget advocacy efforts that will be kicking off next week. The city board will pass their resolution in support of our request from the state, and then things will kick off and all the fun begins. We also are starting our budget process, as I'm sure you're aware of, and we'll continue to work with Brian and others on what we're projecting out over the next several years in terms of our funding. We've also kicked off this year our facilities management process. We do about every 10 years. The last one was done in 2010. So we did an update to that plan when we were planning for the NSTEM work building. But now it's time to kind of revisit the whole facilities master plan. So we will be engaging with this body to invite you to some sessions to give us some feedback as we think about Adirondack in the future. And so that process will take us we'll take all of the academic years, and in summer we'll kind of finalize everything, and report will come back to this group of course as well as to our trustees and ask them for approval. That then goes on to the state. We are not eligible to receive any matching funds for capital projects from the state unless it's in our facilities master plan. So it's important that we think big and think broadly about what might occur, even if we don't have the funding identified. We still put those ideas in a plan so that if the funding becomes available, then at least we have something written down what we wanted to do. So that process is continuing. You should also know that we are kicking off our faculty and staff negotiations. Negotiation year with our two unions, our faculty union, our staff union. So that will be occurring starting in January. Those meetings will begin, and again, that is something that, of course, we'll bring to this body when it's settled for your review and everything. And other than that, that's what we're working on. We've got 3 more weeks of classes in final, so everyone's at their highest stress level even after a tricky day, and we expect everything to go well.
Any questions for Dr. Duffy? Anything? A good article in the paper about what's going on at the college, so that was good. Well, happy holidays, and thanks for coming.
All, yeah.
Good,
I'm sure.
Thank you. Human Resource Director. You want to talk about anything about the vacancies? No? Okay. Everybody has a copy of them. Any questions on any of the vacancies? Okay. Criminal Justice. Request to amend the table organization.
Got item B.
Oh, we have a B. Request to authorize new contract with Millennium for independent medical claim actuarial services. Who's going to speak to that? Matt? Matt, I was even going to give you 10 minutes for that.
You almost got skipped completely. Happy for 5 minutes. All right. Well, I do want to refresh everybody's memory with this. We had our working group meeting in June, and then subsequently in this committee meeting in July, we've been talking about hiring a independent actuarial firm to review and analyze the cost of claims in the background. So, very quick, as a reminder of, you are a self-insured employer, of course, and you utilize Blue Shield as your network to pay claims. You pay it ultimately, but they are the ones who have the discounts with the agreements, with the contracts with the provider. So, you know, indeed, what we're analyzing, what we're going to be analyzing is, does Blue Shield have the best discounts, the medical and the prescription side, compared to an Empire Blue Cross, or CDPHP, or an MBC, or a number of carriers. Just give you, just pulling an example out of the air, is, you know, some carriers, you may have a network that has a contract for an MRI where they would reimburse $1,000, let's say, and maybe a different network has one that's $950 or $900, right? So, you know, as in that example, we want to try to analyze and find, determine which one would be the best. Need an independent actuarial firm to do this because the carriers, they're all going to tell us they have the very best discounts, the very best contracts out there, and we can't take their word for it. So this is where we're going to be actually analyzing it through an actuarial firm, and they're going to be looking at claims. They won't be looking at individual claims, just so everybody's aware. This is not going to compromise anybody's medical data. This is all on an aggregate basis, and they're going to be looking at every single claim that have been processed, let's say, in the last 12 months. Which could be something like 30,000 rows on an Excel file. It would be a massive job. So, with that, we're going to be going out to other companies and looking at it. And just to be clear, Blue Shield absolutely could be the winner in this. You could be in the 100% appropriate spot, or it may make sense. You can find a different partner that would free up a tremendous amount of dollars in having better contracts with providers and hospitals. So, in doing so, Julie has sent out an RFP 69-19, and we have 3 respondents to it: Milliman, Siegel, and VPAS. And my understanding, there's a summary within the packet of those that RFP on pages 5 and 6. Short version, Milliman was the winner by far, and they have on their proposal. There's a lot of work that they put in the proposal that, frankly, isn't needed. We're going to look at some of that work. And so they have a total, I believe it's worded in their maximum of no more than $35,000. I think realistically, well, we won't even get anything near that mark, because we don't need them to do certain things. We're going to be doing the analysis of what they provide. We're going to be providing disruption of providers if there is any. To put that in perspective, though, let's say it was even 25 to 35,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. That represents about 1/4% of your total healthcare budget, believe it or not. It's a fraction, and we feel it's well worth the investment to determine if you're with the right partners, because we feel potentially in doing this in the past, we could free up multiple percentage points, could be 3 to 5%. So it's worthy effort. And obviously, we're going to be able from there to analyze any impact to the plan. And obviously, we want to start this process early in 2020 so that if there is a change needed, we would have ample time to analyze fully any impacts to the members and make determinations for next year. Talking December 2020. So I know that was a lot. I'm intentionally hurrying here, but I want to pause for questions.
Is any questions for Matt from the committee? Thank you. You have a happy holiday. We'll vote to authorize the contract. Motion by Supervisor Sokol, second by Supervisor Loeb. Any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Have a happy holiday. All right, number 3, request to amend table of organization salary schedule to create and fill a new position of correction officer number 80, annual salary of $41,590, and delete the position of correction officer and inspector, annual salary of $64,000. This is put forth by Criminal Justice. Motion by Supervisor Leggett. We have a second by Supervisor Merlino. Any discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Health and Human Services, request to authorize enrollment for job-related course from Jignashasa, Public Health Program Coordinator, and that was put forth by Public Health. Somebody want to make a motion? Motion by Supervisor Frazier. Do we have a second? Supervisor Loeb. Any discussions? It's same rules apply. Must keep a C average. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we'd like to introduce Liza Ochsendorf, new Director of Employment and Training, and I'll ask that Ryan say a few words.
Yes, Liza is a native of Warren County. For the past 15 years, she's been working for the Seed School in Washington, D.C., which is the nation's first public charter college preparatory boarding school. She was one of 5 finalists who was interviewed by what was supposed to be the initial screening team for this position. That was Supervisor Garrity, Supervisor Frazier, myself, and our HR Director, Jackie Figueroa. The screening team felt so strongly about Liza being the right candidate for this position that we thought it was expedient to offer her the job before going into a second round of interviews out of fear that she was going to get a job someplace else in the meantime. So our apologies for that. In a perfect world, we would have had a second round of interviews before this committee, but we offered her the job. She accepted. We're very happy about that, and she's already hit the ground running. Her first day was 2 Mondays ago. And all the reports I've gotten, and I was at the EDC event last night, and I had reports from a lot of individuals there that Liza had already made contact, and everybody's very impressed. So we're really excited to have her on board, and if she'd like to say...
Sure. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I will say that I do have deep family roots here since the 1800s, but I did not grow up here, but I grew up coming here regularly. And my mother moved back here 20 years ago, and I moved back here because this is where I came from. So I have long family roots here. I'm excited to be here. I'm already 8 days in and building relationships with the community, but most importantly with my staff. I do believe that being transparent is crucial in building trust and being able to work together. So positive working relationships really matter to me, so I look forward to building and maintaining working relationships. I do have many ideas already, but it's December and I want to be a sponge and take in as much information as I can and get to know everybody and learn from everyone else. And then hit the ground running even more in January with some new initiatives. Just to speak generally about some of those new initiatives, would love to see more business partnerships, so enhancing those services for businesses, more surveying and evaluations of programs and partnerships for feedback so we know how we're doing and can continue to enhance and improve the great work that's already being done. And then the Career Center has 2 entities. So we have Department of Labor folks, and then we have Warren County folks, all working towards the same mission, so wanting to make sure that we're aligned. And I'll be doing a lot of team building with the team there to make sure that we're in alignment with our goals and initiatives and constant improvement. And then, of course, if we're going to have new initiatives, you have to make sure that fits into the WIOA regulations, as well as our budget. So we're already applying for grants, and I'm working with the other 2 directors of Washington and Sarasota counties applying for the CSA grant to make sure that we can fund new programs and partnerships. I'm happy to take questions. I'm also I'll be reaching out to those of you who I haven't reached out to already. If there's further conversation that you wish to have with me, I'm all for it and very excited to work with you.
Any questions for Liza? We're happy to have you here.
Welcome.
You want to do it?
So much. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Because this office interfaces with the federal government, we do need a resolution ratifying her appointment as Employment and Training Director.
So, motion by Supervisor Loeb, second by Supervisor Simpson. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Yeah, you have discussion? Go ahead.
I just want to comment that, as Administrator Morse said, it would have been ideal to have the candidates come to the committee prior to coming to personnel with the person already
Okay. Thank
on the
you.
ground running, but I do look forward to her working.
Okay.
Thank
We
you.
have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. Ryan, you want to talk changes to the department head evaluation?
Yes, picking up from where we left off last month, it's all in the packet, but we will need, at least if you're okay with what I proposed in terms of doing these evaluations, how it'll fit in with the budget process. That was all lined out in the guidance, the administrative directive. We obviously have to change a couple of dates in there, which we will, if this committee has any input into edits and how we could better organize it. The grade assignments for each position are in there. The salary grade is in there. But the action that we'll need from the full board is an amendment to Resolution 536 of 2016 in order to incorporate this evaluation form into the evaluation process that we already do. If you can read my handwriting on that page, it's in your packet. Basically, the change would be, we'll still use the goal-setting forms that were developed that are part of this policy in Appendix A. We'll do those goal settings in the beginning of the year by the department heads. I'll meet with all the department heads about them. And then we would use the evaluation form that I'm proposing, item 5B, as Appendix B in this policy. And those evaluations will be done in conjunction with the committee chair, the personnel chair, and I believe I had the chairman of the board or the chairman's designee in there as well. But we can change that. I'm open to suggestions. But we will need an act from the board to amend that resolution.
Yes, motion by Supervisor Sokol, second by Supervisor Melino. Discussions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Schedule A was impossible to read online, and I'm looking at it now. While the words are legible, it's...
You want me to read it?
Well, I'm wondering why it isn't in print. I wouldn't want to vote on this. If we're approving this thing that's hand scratched together and crossed out everything, that's totally inappropriate, even in the holiday season.
You want me to read it in full? I'll read it in full.
No.
Well, we'll make sure everybody gets a type.
Well, I wouldn't. I seconded this, but I wouldn't vote for it because it's an inappropriate presentation.
We understand. Any other discussions? All those in favor to move the policy forward, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Supervisor
No.
Lowe and Supervisor Bramer. Okay. Okay, we'll get that to you.
And any suggestions on changes on the evaluation process?
We'll bring it back.
If anybody has them, you can email me. And
Next, C, we have changes
Chairman.
to... Yes,
Could we have Administrator Moore just go over what the actual process is right now?
sure.
Or what he's really proposing? That would be better.
so the proposal is we'll have the goal setting that we do right now. We'll have those meetings in the beginning of the year where the department heads go over what they did during the prior year and what their goals are for the new year, the improvements they want to make, and so on and so forth. Around budget time, we'll have evaluations that will use this evaluation form that we'll adopt and include in Resolution 536. Those evaluations will have the personnel chair, the chair of the committee to which that department head reports, the chair of the board or his or her designee, and the budget officer would be, in terms of my proposal, and as I said, we can do it differently if the board wants to do it differently, would be part of those meetings where I will sit down and I will put together what I would do for my recommendation. I'll go over it with all of those individuals. We'll all get on the same page and we'll all meet with the department head to go over it. And those evaluations will be used because we have this merit-based salary grid in place now to advise the budget officer and the board of supervisors on salaries to be assigned to department heads and non-union individuals. Those evaluations will be the basis for that determination.
It's very similar to what we had before.
Yes, we
took a year off.
There was when this process was initially started, the evaluation form was a lot more similar to what I'm proposing now, and then it was compacted a little bit. I'm proposing that we expand it back out to something that's a little closer to what it initially was. I think it's useful.
Do you already have set out, like these numbers for the evaluations? Do they correspond with increases in the salary matrix? For instance, if you're a whatever grade level department head and you've been here 10 years, you're at X number. If you get a number 1 in your evaluation, are you getting X dollars or $0 in your raise?
No, we're not proposing to decrease salaries, but there's a guidance point in here that says that if you have, so we'll average together all of those 1 to 5 grades in all the categories, And the guidance says that if the average grade is under a 3, and a 3 is good performance, if it's under a 3, then that person should not be recommended to get a higher increment from the increment that they're currently getting. But it's not about cutting anybody's pay.
What is the increment they are currently getting? Is that, I thought there were only increments every 5 years or something like that.
No, those are all in the grid, which is in the it's in the packet.
Oh, is it?
So there's an entry level step, a step that you're eligible after your first full year, and then your second full year, third full year, fourth full year, fifth full year, and then it goes every 5 years, 10th, 15th, 20th, 25th, and 30th.
Right, so if you're in your 11th year and you get whatever number in your evaluation, what is the plan for, is there a plan, or is it going to still be up to the budget officer
Yeah,
completely?
this is about giving the budget officer objective guidance that's based on merit evaluations when the budget officer is recommending salaries to the full board, rather than, doing it in a subjective manner. So if you're in your 11th year, what this means is you would qualify for the salaries in your grade all the way up to number 10, the 10th increment. Whether you are pushed all the way out to the 10th increment is dependent on your merit evaluations.
Okay.
Is it clear as mud to you?
Mm-hmm.
Supervisor Hogan?
I realize this might be splitting hairs, but is the terminology that you've used a couple times in conjunction with tying this process too much procedurally to the budget process? Would it be better to say concurrent to?
As a verbiage?
Well, I'm just curious, does in conjunction with tie it too much into the budget process, so that in the future, if it ever needs to be extricated from, would that make it difficult?
I'm not sure I understand the question, I'm sorry.
Talk about it after. It's
Okay.
not- it's splitting hairs.
Okay.
Any other discussions? Did we vote? We did?
No.
Do we need to vote?
We don't need to, I just wanted the committee's input into it.
And then, okay, then item C, 5C, we have some technical changes to the,
We do, those are also in the packet. It's actually right after the evaluation form. We did a grid. So the district attorney's investigators are part-time positions. This was an inadvertent, we just missed them when we were going through the positions for 2020. So we assigned a 2% increase, which is consistent with what other part-time positions have gotten. And that assistant social services attorney is a function of a promotion. The individual who was in that line got promoted up to the senior social services attorney, and we recruited somebody from the private sector to fill the assistant social services attorney spot. And that salary for 2020, $69,891, represents the entry-level increment for that grade on the grid that we were just looking at. It was in the budget for $76,704, which would have been the salary that the previous incumbent would have gotten. So we'll have about $7,000 worth of savings. So the net impact of all of these changes is a savings of $5,641. The payroll that generates paychecks is based on what's in the salary schedule. So the salary schedule simply needs to be amended to reflect what these four individuals ought to be getting.
okay. And then pending items, is there any more discussion on that grid?
No.
It's in the past.
I think we just did it.
Okay. All right, then
But
we have...
we do need a resolution on that compensation schedule amendment.
Oh, the corrections, so
Yep.
somebody want to make a correction? Supervisor Simpson, do we have a second? Supervisor Frazier to make corrections to the salary compensation schedule. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, vacancies, they're all in your packet, they've all been approved by committee. Countryside is a cook, district attorney, health services, office of the aging, parks and rec, social services, treasurer, and I believe that's it. So a motion to, motion to approve the vacancies. Motion by Supervisor Simpson. Do we have a second? Supervisor Sokol. Any more discussion on the vacancies? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That concludes anything coming from the committee, personnel. Anything? All right, motion to adjourn. So be. Supervisor Frazier, second by Supervisor Lowe. Okay, Matthew, you're up.
Your turn.